It is 2026, and we are celebrating the 100th birthday of America's most famous highway. There is just one problem. Route 66 has not officially existed for 41 years. The road died in 1985, but somehow it is more famous now than when it was alive. How does that happen? Here is the entire story, from muddy nightmare to American legend. Let's start at the beginning. It's the early 1920s, and America has a road problem. Actually, America has a road disaster. After World War I, suddenly everyone's buying cars, lots and lots of cars. But the roads are a complete mess. There are disconnected local roads, unmarked paths, and trails that change names every time you cross a state line. It's chaos. The federal government looks at this disaster and says, we need to fix this. So they decide to create a unified, numbered highway system. Makes sense, right? A businessman from Tulsa named Cyrus Avery gets involved. Avery is a highway commissioner in Oklahoma, and he has a vision. He wants to build a highway that connects Chicago to Los Angeles, running right through the Southwest. This will open up the entire region to development and tourism. It's brilliant. Avery wants to call his highway Route 60. Sounds important, sounds official, but Kentucky throws a fit. They want Route 60 for themselves. There's a political battle. Bureaucrats arguing with bureaucrats. Avery is told he cannot have Route 60 because Kentucky already claimed it. He pushes for that number, but he is told he will get Route 66 instead. Nobody thinks Route 66 will be memorable. Fine, Route 66 it is, not as catchy, but whatever. On April 30th, 1926, the number 66 was officially assigned. Then, on November 11th, 1926, Route 66 was formally established. America has a new highway. Officially, congratulations everyone. But here's the catch. This is mostly just on paper. The highway that has been officially established is actually dirt roads, gravel paths, and big dreams. The route is supposed to run 2,448 miles through 8 states: Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. Miles. Why build this thing? It will connect the agricultural Midwest to markets on the West Coast. It is the shortest year-round route between Chicago and Los Angeles. Plus, it is the roaring 20s. America is booming. The automobile has gone from a luxury toy to an absolute necessity, and the nation needs infrastructure to match. For the small towns in the Southwest, especially in Oklahoma, this highway is economic salvation. Tourism and commerce are coming to save them. Great. America has a new highway. There is just one problem. It does not actually exist yet. So, Route 66 is officially established in 1926. But what does that actually mean on the ground? Not much. Most of the highway is dirt. When it rains, that dirt turns into mud. Impassable, sticky, nightmare mud. Large portions are completely unpaved. Some sections are gravel, if you are lucky. This is going to take a while to fix. Building a continuous paved highway from Chicago to Los Angeles took more than a decade. And the work was brutal. This was construction done mostly by hand, before modern heavy equipment was everywhere. How did they build a highway? With picks, shovels, and wheelbarrows. Workers broke rock by hand. They moved earth manually. When concrete needed to be poured, it was mixed on site in small batches. Everything was back-breaking labor, and the conditions were terrible. In the deserts of Arizona and New Mexico, workers were laying road in temperatures above 110 degrees. In Illinois and Missouri, they worked through freezing winters. There was no safety equipment because there were no safety standards. OSHA did not exist yet. Accidents happened all the time. The workers were earning a few dollars a day. Many of them were migrants, unemployed men desperate for any work. They lived in temporary camps in remote locations with primitive conditions. It was miserable. But then something unexpected happened. In 1929, the economy collapsed. The Great Depression hit, and suddenly millions of people were out of work. Ironically, this sped up Route 66. The federal government created work programs, the Works Progress Administration and the Civilian Conservation Corps. They poured money into highway construction as a jobs program. Men who had lost everything, their farms, their businesses, their savings, were now building Route 66 as a lifeline. You lost your farm? Here's a shovel. Welcome to Route 66. At least it was work, right? Yes, at least it was work. So here's the timeline. In 1926, Route 66 was officially designated, but it was mostly unpaved. In 1929 and 1930, paving accelerated because it was an employment program. In 1933, the New Deal pumped massive federal investment into the project. And finally, in 1938, Route 66 became fully paved from end to end. It was the first completely paved cross-country highway in America. But even after 1938, the work continued. The road was constantly being improved, widened, and straightened throughout the 1940s and the 1950s. Route 66 was never really finished. So after 12 years of backbreaking work, America finally had a real highway. And it was about to become legendary. Route 66 is finally paved, and right away it gets tested. In the 1930s, the Dust Bowl arrives. Massive dust storms devastate Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. Farms are destroyed, and the land is dead. Hundreds of thousands of people pack up and head west on Route 66. Their jalopies are loaded with everything they own: families, furniture, hope. They are all heading to California. John Steinbeck writes about them in The Grapes of Wrath, and he calls Route 66 the Mother Road. The nickname sticks. The highway becomes a symbol of both desperation and hope. Then, World War II happens. Military convoys thunder down Route 66 to training bases and to ports. Defense industries boom in California, and workers stream westward. Route 66 becomes a wartime lifeline. After the war, something magical happens. Americans discover leisure travel. The road trip becomes a thing, and Route 66 gets covered in the most amazing roadside culture you've ever seen. We are talking about quirky motels with glowing neon signs, mom and pop diners serving pie and coffee, bizarre tourist attractions, giant dinosaurs, buildings shaped like teepees, trading posts everywhere, service stations every few miles. It is wild and it is wonderful. In 1946, a guy named Bobby Troup writes a song called "Get Your Kicks on Route 66." Nat King Cole records it. It becomes an anthem. Route 66 is now peak American freedom and prosperity. The 1950s are the glory years. The economy is booming. Everyone is buying cars. Thousands of small businesses are thriving along the highway. Entire towns exist just to serve travelers. Route 66 is living the dream. But in 1956, President Eisenhower signs the Interstate Highway Act. And here is the irony. Route 66's success is about to kill it. The new interstates are designed for efficiency. They are straight, wide, and fast, with limited access. Instead of going through towns, they bypass them completely. 5 interstates start replacing Route 66, Interstate 55, Interstate 44, Interstate 40, Interstate 15, and Interstate 10. As each segment of interstate opens, the traffic on Route 66 vanishes. Towns that have thrived for decades suddenly find themselves bypassed. Where did all the cars go? They are on the interstate, 5 miles away. Motels close. Diners shutter. Gas stations go bankrupt. Communities that were bustling yesterday become ghost towns almost overnight. It is systematic, it is relentless, it is brutal. On October 13, 1984, Williams, Arizona becomes the last town on Route 66 to be bypassed. Then, on June 27, 1985, Route 66 is officially decommissioned as a United States highway. Signs come down. Maps get updated. The mother road is dead, and that's where the story should end. But it doesn't. It is 1987. Route 66 has been dead for 2 years. But in Seligman, Arizona, a barber named Angel Delgadillo is not having it. No, we are not letting this die. Not on my watch. Delgadillo organizes the historic Route 66 Association of Arizona. It is a grassroots movement. He starts lobbying to preserve the road, to mark it, to save it. And it works. Other states see what Arizona is doing, and they follow. Historic Route 66 associations start forming everywhere. Brown signs appear along the old highway that say Historic Route 66. The road is being marketed as a tourist attraction now. People are getting nostalgic. By the 1990s, there is real momentum. Americans want authentic road trips from a simpler time. They want to experience what their grandparents experienced. So, preservation efforts intensify. Old neon signs get restored. Vintage motels get renovated. Communities work to save their Route 66 heritage. The National Park Service creates the Route 66 Corridor Preservation Program. States start designating portions as scenic byways. This thing is coming back to life. Then, in 2006, Pixar releases Cars. The movie was inspired by research trips along Route 66. It introduces the highway to a whole new generation of kids, and suddenly, international tourists are making Route 66 pilgrimages. People from Europe and Japan are flying to America just to drive this road. Now it is 2026. Route 66 is turning 100 years old. It has been officially dead for 41 years, but it is very much alive. About 85% of the original route can still be driven. The Centennial is huge. There are major celebrations happening across all 8 states. Chicago has new monuments and centennial markers. Illinois received $6.6 million in grants for improvements and electric vehicle charging stations. Oklahoma has over 400 continuous drivable miles and just built a 66-foot-tall fiberglass dinosaur. New Mexico has an 18-mile stretch through Albuquerque with restored motels and augmented reality experiences. There is a push to designate Route 66 as a National Historic Trail. The Postal Service is making commemorative stamps. So, what is it like to drive Route 66 today? It is time travel. You will see restored Art Deco motels with glowing neon. Vintage gas stations converted into museums. Fresh murals, roadside giants, the blue whale of Catoosa, classic drive-in theaters, diners serving pie. But it is not a theme park, it is authentic. You will also find abandoned buildings with caved-in roofs, faded signs, crumbling pavement, ghost towns where nature is reclaiming the asphalt. The contrast between restored and decaying tells the complete story. The Centennial kickoff runs from April 29th to May 3rd, 2026. Tourism is surging. People from around the world are making the pilgrimage. Communities are investing heavily because they have figured something out. Route 66 is more valuable as heritage than it ever was as a highway. So, what does Route 66 mean a century later? Route 66 is bigger than asphalt and concrete. It embodies American mobility, optimism, and reinvention. The highway carried Dust Bowl refugees to new lives. It carried servicemen to war and families on vacation. It created the roadside culture we take for granted today. And in 2026, in an increasingly digital world, people are seeking connection to a tangible past. The highway that was declared dead in 1985 is thriving as memory, experience, and legend. So here's the paradox we started with. The most famous road in America does not officially exist, and that is exactly why it will never die. Subscribe for more videos like this one. See you next time.